In this science age, we all human beings presently surrounded with radiations. First, we should know how radiation discovered. Hertz used a simple homemade experimental apparatus involving an induction coil and a Leyden jar, the original capacitor, to create electromagnetic waves and a spark gap between two brass spheres to detect them. Electromagnetic radiation, characterized as a broad smear of numerous energies referred to as bremsstrahlen, which is produced by electrons or other charged particles, such as protons and alpha particles, as they are accelerated toward an atomic nucleus and are deflected by the Coulomb field of the nucleus. Electromagnetic radiation, commonly referred to as light, provides the basis for a wide range of techniques in photophysics, photochemistry, spectroscopy, across a huge range of wavelengths ranging from the highly energetic gamma rays, through X-rays, ultraviolet, visible, infrared, microwaves to low-energy radio waves. The principles of wave and particle-like behavior determine the nature of the radiation. Electromagnetic radiation deposits energy into forms as it passes through biologic material, excitation and ionization. Excitation describes the deposition of enough energy to raise an electron to a higher electron shell without ejection of the electron. The antennas contained in mobile phones, including smartphones, emit radio frequency, RF, radiation non-ionizing radio waves such as microwaves. The parts of the head or body nearest to the antenna can absorb this energy and convert it to heat. Most common sources of RF radiation had been radio and TV broadcast antennas. VFE-based technology and receivers, such as laptops, tablets, cordless, and mobile phones with their base stations and Bluetooth devices have now been available on the global market. The term electromagnetic field, EMF, is commonly used to describe fields in the frequency spectrum lesser than 300 GHz. Some home gadgets also produce EMF like cordless phones and radio-operated toys. Mobile phone operates in a low-power, single-network broadcasting in two ways. It produces RF radiation to communicate information to the cellular tower. A mobile phone has a SR, specific absorption rate, range, which has a threshold of 1.6 watts per kilogram. Earlier generation networks have used RF wavelengths below 6 GHz, GHz. 5G networks will use some wavelengths in this range, but will also use some higher frequency wavelengths at the lower end of the millimeter wave spectrum, which ranges from 30 GHz to 300 GHz. While these RF waves are higher frequency, higher energy than those used by older generations, they are still forms of non-ionizing radiation, so they still lack the ability to directly damage DNA. As part of the study, the participants were exposed to electromagnetic radiation from mobile phones and the changes in frequency of the brain wave pattern was observed. The volunteers were healthy individuals with no history of neurological disorder. This happens because our body waves are random, whereas all man-made radiations are systemic, which disrupt the normal functioning, and so our cells have to work harder to communicate. The thyroid gland is susceptible to radioactive iodine. Patients residing close to cellular towers were at potential risk for progressing to neuropsychiatric complaints like remembrance disruptions, headache, uneasiness, shivering, nausea, muscle seizures, tingling, numbness, changed reflexes, leg-foot pain, orthopedic pain, feeling of sadness, and sleep disorders. Gene mutations resulting from radiation-induced damage to DNA have been produced experimentally in many types of organisms. This susceptibility may be related to deficiencies in DNA repair mechanisms that are activated after cell radiation, which causes DNA damage, particularly DNA double-strand breaks. Based on mixed epidemiological evidence on humans regarding an association between exposure to RF radiation from wireless phones and head cancers, glioma, and acoustic neuroma. Electromagnetic radiation can also cause non-thermal effects, which are caused by radiofrequency fields at levels too low to produce significant heating and are due to movement of calcium and other ions across the animal's cell membrane. Birds are very sensitive to radiation. When birds are exposed to weak electromagnetic fields, they disorient and fly in all directions, which harm their natural navigational abilities. A large number of birds like pigeons, sparrows, swans are getting lost due to interference from the unseen enemy.